We moved into Folly House in June, and really things have gone from strength to strength. The horses are running amazingly well. I think 60% of our horses are finishing in the first three, 14th in the Trainers' Championship so far, over £50,000 of prize money. We couldn't have asked for a better start, really.
And although you're in the centre of Lambourne, you're your own little self-contained area, really.
Well, that's it, and that's what Lucy and I fell in love with, is the fact that we've got all the facilities of the Lambourne Gallops, which are only a stone's throw away, but yet we're a private, secluded yard. And it's amazing how many owners have come up to see us, and they said, God, we never knew this yard existed. It's hidden away, but it's very open, it's very, the sun gets into it, it's lovely and warm. It's a very picturesque yard, and hopefully it's successful for many years to come. We started off in Ebbsbourne Wake with one horse. We got going, we learnt the ropes from scratch, as it were, and we could never have moved into Folly House with one horse 3 years ago. And now we've got 30 horses, we've got a good team, we built it up steadily, bit by bit. And I think, we've got a thorough understanding of the game. And like you say, you have to work at it. It doesn't happen overnight, but we have worked, and things are working.
Have you based your training on any one individual? Did you take what you learnt at Seven Barrows or at Ditchit and add them all together and add your own?
I think that's what you've got to do. I think everyone has their own individual character, and you train in a certain style. You can never train exactly how Nichols does, because Nichols has his own facilities. You can never train the same way as Nicky does, because Nicky has his own facilities, and you have to adapt what you learn from each of those yards. I was assistant on a flat yard out in New Zealand, and we trained all the horses on the beach, and they were the most successful flat yard out there. But you can't if you haven't got a beach, you can't train exactly that way. But you can take little bits out of every single person you've been to and adapt it to fit your own facilities and the way you do things.
You've been running horses throughout the summer, so obviously a lot of them are fit, but even your winter horses look very fit and well already.
Yeah, they do. Like you say, we've had a handful of horses to run over the summer, and they've done us no end of proud. But the winter horses, we're looking to get a lot of them out sort of early on in the season. Yeah, last year was an absolute nightmare with the frost and the snow throughout the winter, and I know it scuppered a lot of people, but down where we were in Ebbsbourne Wake, we were snowed in for 3 months of last winter. So if we can get them out, in the autumn, so much the better. They're fit, they're well, they're looking an absolute picture, all of them. We just had our open day on Sunday, and I couldn't be more pleased with how they look, to be honest.
Just explain what you were doing with the horses this morning.
Well, we had a couple of babies just there. We had a lead horse, Horseshoe Reef, was leading two babies, Miss Milbourne and Sutton Hoo. But neither of those have run over hurdles yet. Miss Milbourne's run in a couple of bumpers. Sutton Hoo hasn't run, and basically they've done all the pole work back at home in the school, so they know how to jump, and they've been over the barrels. So it's just coming up here. It's learning actually in the wide open space what jumping hurdles is all about. And they've come up over the baby hurdles very nicely. We've then moved them up to the intermediate hurdles, and again they were very nicely. Sutton Hoo was a little bit lacklustre, and so he came up over the fences just to try and sharpen his mind up. He knows how to jump, but it's just sharpening his mind up to actually getting on with the job, as opposed to thinking about being a baby as much as anything. He's just got to grow up. And it's stages that all these horses have got to go through before they're out, as we saw the handicappers jumping this morning. They all jump brilliantly. We spend a lot of time schooling our horses, and the age-old saying of jumping is the name of the game certainly is the case. The fact that we can school on the all-weather, so all throughout the whole year, throughout the winter, throughout the summer, baby hurdles, tyres, fences, you name it. It's absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, if you can't train a jumper here, then you can't train a jumper anywhere. A lot of people say, it's a big centre, and it is a big centre, but the facilities are so amazing. There are so many different gallops that, we've never had to queue for one gallop in 3 months that we've been here. We go up, we do a lot of work up what's called the back of the hill. We were up there yesterday, didn't see another horse. It's so versatile, and so many people use different gallops, and it suits different people's tastes. So to be fair, we haven't found a problem with cluttering of horses or anything like that.
For a lot of people, Knight and Coombe was a hello, Jamie Snowden's here on the scene. For him to win the Summer National must be extraordinary.
It was lovely. The fact is, Mum and Dad bred him. I rode him in his first point-to-point age 5, and here he is, 11, winning the Summer National. And to think that he couldn't win a men's open point-to-point says something for the British point-to-point scene, to be honest, because he was struggling in men's opens. He was finishing second and third. He comes under rules, and I think he came to us off a mark of 90, and he's now 132. Winning the Summer National was amazing. It was our second runner from Folly House, and he won very nicely. He's up to a mark of 132 now, and we'll probably head towards the Welsh National. If you can run well in that, go up a few pounds, who knows, the Grand National might be on the cards.
Now, just picking out some of the others, Zora's been a really good mare for you.
She has. We bought her in Ireland as a maiden, and she came over here. She won very nicely at Fosslas on her first start for us. Disappointed in the mud at Toasters. We gave her the winter off. Came back this summer, and she's been a revelation, really. She won very nicely at Worcester. She won the valuable Class 2 handicap at Fosslas. She was placed in the listed event up at Market Raisin, which the track would never have suited her, being too tight. We've stepped her up in trip. She keeps getting placed, off high marks. She's now off a mark of 130, and we might look at a Cheltenham race 15th of October for her.
Horseshoe Reef, again, another horse who's been a good friend. Superb ride, I thought, by Sam Twiston Davis.
Sam is instrumental. He's a lovely lad. He's got this, enthusiasm. He loves the game, and I think a lot of that transpires through to horses. And Horseshoe Reef, who's fundamentally a little bit on the idle side, just when Sam gets on board, he comes to light. And Sam gave him a smashing ride, and he won very nicely. We may run him again this weekend, and he's in the form of his life. So hopefully, that can come through again. Talking
of jockeys, we saw this morning Ryan Mahon and also Ian Popham here as well. I presume they'll get their opportunities?
Yeah, definitely. They both claim £3. I think it gets very tricky for some of these young jockeys who are claiming £3 in big yards. When they lose their £3, they're all of a sudden quite isolated. And Ryan and Ian, they both claim 3. They're both attached to Paul Nicholls. Obviously, Ian's now got the stable jock at Martin Keatley's. But they both ride very nicely. They come up through the point-to-pointing ranks. They've got a thoroughly good grounding to race riding. And hopefully with those two on our team of jockeys, along with Sam, Darryl, Harry Skelton, they're a good bunch of guys.
Just mention a couple of others. American Lady,
smashing mare. She finished second on her first start for us at Fontwell. Probably needed the run a little bit. She got impeded several times. Some people may say she would have won, but I think she probably needed the run a little bit. She'll come on for that. She'll run at Newton Abbot in a mare's race next week. I think she should be spot on for that.
And Lochderg Way?
Smashing horse. He won first time out in a bumper for us at Utoxeter. Really nice horse. We've really concentrated on increasing the quality of our horses, not necessarily increasing the quantity. And the Bidart partnership have been instrumental in our grounding from square one. And obviously he was a lovely horse, but he got to the point where he needed yet another wind operation. And I said to the guys, listen, let's upgrade hopefully into a nicer horse. We upgraded into Lochderg Way, and he won very nicely first time out. So it's a sign of things to come, hopefully, from Folly House.
Another horse that I especially like was a horse called Shinko Moon.
Shinko Moon, smashing chap. He finished third in a bumper first time out last season for Joe Crowley in a junior bumper. Then he won at Wincanton. He's by Shinko Forest. He's a sprinter, but he's a lovely looking individual. He'll run. He's fit. He's ready to go now. He's had the summer off. He'll run probably at Market Raisin or Worcester in a week's time. He'll do well to defy a penalty, but in a bumper. But he's a lovely horse. He's been jumping very nicely over hurdles, and he could be a smart prospect for the winter months.
Now, talking about upgrading your horses, another one that I particularly like, Ballyboker Boy. Tell us about him.
I'm glad you mentioned Ballyboker Boy. He's a lovely horse. He's won 2 Irish point-to-points. On his first start in a point-to-point over in Ireland, he got a rating of 90, which Denman got a rating of 90 on his first start in a point-to-point. He then ran again, and he got a rating of 98. So he's obviously some animal. And you can't knock his form at all. He's come to us. He's a 7-year-old. He was owned by an Irish farmer who left him out in the field until he was 6. Many might see that as a disadvantage, but I see that as a positive. If he was a 5-year-old, he'd be 150 grand. As it is, he's a 7-year-old, and he's within our price bracket. He's obviously a class horse, and I think he's tailor-made for some of these 3-mile novice hurdles.
I saw a for sale sign outside his box as well.
Yeah, he is for sale. At a very reasonable price as well. so he's a smashing horse. He's one to go on with. He's ready to go. 3 mile maiden hurdles this year, 3 mile novice chases next year.
And Jamie, I just sense in your voice a real sort of excitement about the season ahead. You know, you've had a wonderful summer. It's been a wonderful start here at Folly House. You know, really exciting times here.
Well, I think that's it. You know, it's we got started in Ebersbourne Weight. We've moved up here, and it's, you know, on we go. And you know, everyone's got a buzz. The staff are buzzing. The horses are running well, and the jockeys are buzzing. You know, they all want to come in. They're all schooling. And it's, you know, it's really exciting, and hopefully it's a sign of things to come for the future.